It happened today, Friday. The Trump administration rolled back Obamacare's so-called contraception mandate, giving employers who have religious objections far more leeway in opting out of that rule. That, by and large, forced them to buy health care plans, which they were kind of against their religious credo. That included many kinds of free birth control for their employees. Here to debate this and to talk about this first is this is how it looked today with Sarah Huckabee Sanders making the announcement and putting that out to the press and then taking a ton of questions. Watch.
The president believes that the freedom to practice one's faith is a fundamental right in this country, and I think all of us do. And that's all that today was about. Our federal government should always protect that right, and as long as Donald Trump is president, he will.
All right, let's debate this now. Eric Beach is here. He's from Irvine, California, and he's chairman of Great America PAC, which supports President Trump. And Leslie Marshall's here out of Los Angeles. Leslie, so this was something that really bothered, those on the right. There's a lot of Republicans and a lot of religious right because they said the Little Sisters of the Poor forced to pay for contraception. That's really not going to fly. How do you feel about what the president did today?
Well, what the president did today, Brian, is actually goes beyond just those that and the companies that have any kind of a religious objection. It allows companies in the private sector who may not be a Catholic or religious affiliation to make the same determination. Here's my problem with it, Brian. I think it's sexist, okay? And I know you're going to think, oh, as a woman, I'm just going to throw that word around, but hear me out. This obviously affects women. It doesn't affect men. It really does affect cost. It's quite expensive for birth control out of pocket if insurance doesn't pay for it. And although I certainly love the Constitution and respect and uphold the First Amendment right, the religious freedom of everyone, right, don't we have freedom as women to be able to protect ourselves from a pregnancy, especially when who's going to pay for the pregnancy when you're out of work? That employer? So this is really sexist, in my opinion.
You bring up a lot of different facets to this, but Eric, this is a choice for the companies, freedom for companies to decide if it's okay for them to provide money for contraception.
We have a president who delivers on what he says. He's playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers. He was in the Rose Garden 5 months ago. He said people of faith won't be bullied or targeted. And that's what he did today. He made sure that they're not going to be bullied or targeted. And really what this is a reaction to President Obama's, really war against conservative women. Leslie mentions choice. Well, there is choice. And we have a choice, but we shouldn't be forced to pay for contraception, or at least religious groups should not be. And what about the choice by these conservative women, Leslie, that want to say, hey, we don't want to be forced to pay for something that goes against our religious beliefs? I think that needs to be taken into consideration.
Well, it is exactly what President Trump said he was going to do. And in fact, everyone on the religious right helped put him into office, so he's doing it. I want to move on to something else, and it's something right up your alley, Leslie, the future of the Democratic Party. But not me misciting it or not Republicans bringing it up. This is Democrats calling out Democrats. This happened, I thought, was noteworthy yesterday. Congresswoman Linda Sanchez of California saying, Nancy Pelosi, your time is done. Listen.
I do think we have this real breadth and depth of talent within our caucus, and I do think it's time to pass the torch to a new generation of leaders, and I want to be a part of that transition. I want to see that happen. I think that we have too many really great members here that don't always get the opportunities that they should, and I would like to see that change.
She also called out Clyburn, said you should step down as the number 3, and Steny Hoyer, your time's done. I know you're waiting for Nancy Pelosi to retire, but time for a new era. What do you think?
Well, there are a couple of things here, Brian. First of all, when she said she'd like to be part of the transition, I think the translation there is she would like the job. She would like to be some of that new leadership. That aside, as a Democrat, I don't totally disagree with her, but here's the problem. It's not who you put in. Certainly, I know that Democrats are concerned about age and who are we going to have as the next candidate in the next presidential election. The problem is the Democratic Party not being unified on message, on point. You can't just say tear down statues. You can't just say we're against what Donald Trump is. You have to have a clear, unified message and goal going forward. So it doesn't matter who is there if you don't have clear messaging in mind.
I think Tim Ryan has shown that ability in Ohio. I think he might end up running for president. Eric, it seems there's a lot of frustration on the left because it's the same faces, but they are diminishing each and every year, really since 2008.
No message, no leader. And look, a few months ago, Nancy Pelosi said she thinks she's worth it. And I happen to agree with Speaker Pelosi, or former Speaker Pelosi, that she is worth the effort. So I think, the Democrats should continue along the path that they're doing and continue to stand for nothing, not to stand, and not standing for something. So I encourage them to continue along their trajectory, and I'm all for it, and I'm happy to contribute to what they're doing.
Leslie, prediction. If the House doesn't go to the Democrats in this midterm, does she step aside? Does Hoyer move up or move out? What do you think?
No, I don't think so, Brian. And I think this is done left and right, quite frankly, and it's not very good, which is, just like people, they vote for the incumbents over and over, even though they complain about them. And we see the same in leadership. Although I would probably say Nancy Pelosi should have stepped aside a few weeks ago. I would have said that. But after she had a sit down with Chuck Schumer and the president, and he was agreeing with Democrats on DACA, I would say she's actually got some power back and more respect from Democrats within the House and outside.
I'd have to say that some of the Republicans that have let down President Trump actually brought them into the fray to pressure Republicans, in turn putting the wind at Nancy Pelosi's back. I really believe you're right, Leslie. She does have a bounce in her step today, although I don't think she was too strong yesterday in a series of press conferences. Eric Beach, Leslie Marshall, thanks so much.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks,
Thank
Leslie.
you, Brian.